Are you having issues with your LG top load washer? Well, don't worry. I'm going to show you the way through the diagnostics mode, and I'm going to show you at potential problem points which parts you need to replace. Now, if you can't get into the test mode, don't worry. Try using other button combinations. Your washer might not have the same button layout as mine. Just make sure that you have an LG top load washer and that it is not a front loader. Front loaders do have a test mode, but they have completely different programming, and because they have so many different parts than a top loader, the diagnostics program is completely different. If you're looking for an an LG front load washer and you're trying to get into the diagnostics mode, check out Lorraine Furniture and Appliance. He's got a great video on it. To access the test mode, you are going to press the wash temp and soil level buttons simultaneously before half of this light ring lights up when you turn the machine on. I'm not very good at doing this one-handed, but I've gotten it. This is when you are in the test mode. This is what it's going to look like, but you're mainly looking for T1. The actual number is the program version you're running on. So I am running on program version 107. The number is going to be different for you. And like skipping to T2 here, you can see this is the display program version. So it's going to be different from model to model, but as long as this number is showing up and all your lights are lighting up, because you can check in this mode that your lights are actually lighting up, as long as this is working properly and you can move the dial and that goes and all the buttons work, you should be just fine. If your machine isn't working just fine, it's likely because you're having control board issues. You should have 2 screws, one right there, and I don't have one over there, but there's supposed to be one there. And you're going to remove both of those screws, and then this whole thing is just going to go up. Okay, I've removed my one, but your 2 screws, and now this entire assembly can just lean forward. It takes absolutely no effort at all to do that. Now, the part that you're looking for is right in there. You're going to want to take all of those screws off, and you're going to want to take this cover off. Now, I do want to say, they have a warning there for a reason. It says, if I can focus on it, this part is intentionally not grounded and may present a risk of electric shock only during servicing. Service personnel do not contact this part while the appliance is being energized. So you really want to fucking make sure that it is unplugged, because if you don't, you're going to take 15 amps to the veins, and that is not good. You are going to turn yourself into a nice meal for some cannibals. So do not do that. If your machine is not turning on at all, the problem's right here. This is the main power supply to your machine, so just switch them out. It's pretty simple. But if you're having problems with this, first of all, be very careful doing that. I've never touched that, and I never plan on. But also just make sure that everything inside is plugged in, and that and if everything is plugged in or a capacitor's blown or something, then this entire thing's got to go. You can buy one on eBay. They're surprisingly common. If something is unplugged, then you're going to want to go under here, and right there is going to be, in a little plastic baggie, your wiring diagram. If I can open this with one hand. That's half of it. Good enough. And this is going to show you all the wires and where they go on the board, as you can see there. So this is a very important piece of paper. You want to make sure you have this when you're actually doing stuff to your machine. This is mainly for the technicians who actually bring this to the LG factory. They work on it, and if there's major computer board problems, they're the ones who do this. Now let's go to T3. T3, this part does nothing, but this is very important because of the subsidiaries. This is the water inlet test for all 5 water inlets. Now, I do want to say, yours is going to be slightly different than mine. I've done a serious modification on this machine, which voided my warranty entirely, so I don't recommend you do it. But the softener and the spray rinse jet have swapped terminals. So inside the computer board, when it thinks that it's running softener, it's actually running this here. So I can select fabric softener, and instead of it using just that, it actually showers the water on the clothes. I'll make another video on how to make this modification if you're curious. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my detergent dispenser to hopefully show you better what it's going to look like inside. I recommend that you do this as well, because This is a great place where mold likes to hide. As you can see, even I have a little bit of it there. And this is also going to help you a lot because you'll be able to see which water inlets you're running. For example, T3A. Now this number here is actually the water level frequency. This is just information about how full your washer is. The number actually gets smaller as it fills up. So you just want to make sure that that number is actually decreasing as your machine fills. But as you can see here, my machine is filling with cold water. And if we check with the thermometer, we can see that this is in fact cold water, 67 degrees. This is your hot water test, is going to be B. And as you can see, the hot water valve is running. And I test it with the thermometer, and that tells me, yes, we're running at 50 Celsius or 121 Fahrenheit, which is about where you want it. This is going to be your fabric softener inlet test, but for me, it's the spray rinse test because I swapped terminals around. D is going to be your spray rinse jet, but it's my softener. And then E is your bleach dispenser. Now, you might want to take this out because this is another place where gunk really likes to hide. But you gotta just make sure that it is in fact filling with water and that it is actually draining out into this and that it's not overflowing and that it is going out through the holes in the side of your tub. This is how the bleach dispenser works. If your machine is not filling, it's likely that one of these contacts is unplugged like this. So you're just gonna wanna plug it back in. The order is red, white, blue, supposed to be here, white, supposed to be here, and blue. And that is the order that they go in. Make sure that they're plugged in. If they are not turning off or they are not turning on even when plugged in, it's likely that one of these solenoids is gone and you'll have to replace it. Unfortunately, this entire assembly needs to be replaced if that's the case. And if your number isn't going up, then that right there is going to be your problem. That's the pressure switch. Make sure it's plugged in, make sure it's fine, and that little clear tube, make sure that the clear tube is not pinched. Now, you will not be able to do this, but for the purpose of showing you guys this demonstration, I am going to defeat the lid switch so that you can actually see what's going inside better. For legal reasons, I can't show you how I did that, but we're going to move on to T4. This is your heater check. My model doesn't have a heater, so it's just measuring the EMFs of the air, which is why that number kind of freaks out. But this isn't that important. You just want to make sure it's not going to throw an error code at you. If it throws an error code at you, that means you need to replace your heater. All right, we're underneath the washer right now. If your heater check gave you an error, then you're going to want to replace the heater. The heater goes somewhere over here. I think that is actually the area you're going to find it in. So you might want to service it by the back or by tilting this on its front. That is likely going to be the easiest way for you to service it. Now, let's move on to T5. This is when things get super duper important. Now, I have to put my phone down so that I can defeat the lid switch. This is going to be your wave force test. It's basically just going to spin counterclockwise is the whole point of it. It's shifting right now into the tub movement mode, and the tub is going to rotate counterclockwise at 220 RPM. As you can see, it's at 220 RPM, and it's rotating counterclockwise. Now, potential problem points here would be if your impeller starts jumping around, which I'll show you the fix to that in just a second. But if that is happening, or if your tub just isn't moving at all, then those are both serious problems, which I'm going to show you how to fix right now. Let's start off with the most obvious problem. Your machine is not moving at all. Your motor is probably busted, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to buy a new stator if this is the case, or what you can do, and you should probably do this before doing that, check underneath and make sure that you can rotate this and the drum will move accordingly, because if it doesn't, then it's likely that something is wrong. Let's say that your agitator stays in place, but the tub is moving. This is because your clutch teeth are stripped out. If this happens, you're basically fucked and you need an entire new machine. I'm sorry, that is the fate that these machines eventually come to, though. It's the end of all LG washers. Don't buy any new machine if this happens, by the way. Go to your used appliance dealer and buy yourself a direct drive washer. Just ask for that and they'll know what you're asking for. And let's say it's jumping around with the impeller. That's the problem right there. It's going to be your shifter. Just replace that and you're good to go. Now let's move on to T6. This is going to be, this is the water level frequency. Sorry, that means that my door lock just came off. But yeah, if you get a DE, that's a door switch error. And this is just going to test the actual agitation. There are 2 of these, but this is more of a drain test as well, because that's the water level frequency. If your entire tub is moving when it's doing this, then it's the clutch that is the problem. Just replace that and you're good. We'll go to T7 right now. And this is a load sensing test. This is just going to test the machine's ability to actually sense loads. It's going to do 1 rotation clockwise like this, and then it's going to do one again at 300 RPM. And this is what it's, with an empty load, you should get a reading of around somewhere at 411 is mine. If you actually put something in here while it's doing this, you will see that number increase. If you're having issues with this, it's likely either a problem with your motor or with your control board. So you're going to want to check both of these, make sure your motor is working fine, make sure it's not doing anything wacky and weird that it's not supposed to be, and if your motor is fine, you're going to want to replace your control board. I'm going to skip this to the other agitate mode. This is solely for agitation purposes. It's shifting right now. And this is simply checking to make sure your impeller is working, which it is. If your entire tub is moving with this, then you have a serious problem, and I will show you how to fix that in a second. I already told you this, but it's the shifter. I don't know why I made myself repeat that. Now let's go to the final spin mode. This is T9, but it's not going to show that. Instead, you're only going to be getting a number for what actual, you're going to get a number for the actual rotations per minute of your machine. The maximum my machine is supposed to go to is 1,100, but it does not reach that ever. It only goes to 110, but it can reach 1,100 sometimes. I'm actually going to lock the lid for this. Never mind. Let me fix that. Now, it's actually good that this happened. If you get an error code in test mode, you cannot skip past it. It's going to be stuck here. The way you need to clear your error code is by turning your machine off and turning it back on. Now, it's going to stay that way because this is a serious one, and the only way for clearing it is hitting the pause button. But that is, that's the only way to clear these. So, we are back at test number 9. So, this is the final test in the sequence, by the way. And what it's going to do here is it's going to spin to the maximum speed that the machine can. Most cycles, it's going to limit the speed significantly, so it won't go that high. But on this, it will go to the maximum potential of the machine. When it hits 155 RPM, it's going to start launching, and it's going to significantly speed up faster than you've ever seen this machine go to, just for speed purposes. And as you can see, it's speeding up significantly. And it's going to do this all the way to the max speed. So if you're a little scared of this, then you can step away. These machines are known to explode if they're off balanced, and they do this. But if you don't have anything in there, then you're likely going to be just fine. And right there, I've hit the maximum of 1010 that it will hit on this, but it hits higher than that in the heavy duty cycle for whatever reason. But other than that, that is the test mode. You click again, it's going to turn off, and your machine is going to slow down completely. And that is the test mode. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope that it helped you out a lot, because I know I would have been looking for this video years ago, not because I experienced any problems with this machine. This machine's been a great machine, but just because I'm a nerd, that's why. Also, for those saying in the end of this video, oh, they need the test mode because the machine is poor quality and they can't just easily fix it. I've owned this machine for 9 years and never had a single problem with it. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.